Hi everyone, happy Thursday. It's Thursday today. Just in case you're wondering, I'm Jen. Happy to have you at my little home studio today in class. We're going to need 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, use boxes, you can use books, and don't worry if you don't have any of those things, you just do the best that you can. Also maybe a strap, or you can use a sock. If you don't have a strap, a belt, a hand towel, any of those things that might help to enhance your practice. We'll get started just sitting for a couple of moments and get in a really comfortable position. So if that means you sit up on a block or you use blocks underneath the outer thighs here and support, so you can sit with a really tall back. And I'm just going to do a little bit of talking so you can watch me or not. Your eyes closed, your back really tall and strong. Just start to tune into what's going on in the body, or maybe listen to me. Your choice. All right. So our class today is about this internal struggle that we have inside of us every day. Sometimes we know it's there, sometimes we don't. And it's based on a story that I heard about a Native American elder. And she was being interviewed and she was asked, how did you become so wise and so respected and so happy? And she answered, well, inside my heart, there are 2 wolves, the wolf of love and the wolf of hate. And it really depends on which wolf I feed that day. The wolf of hate is one of darkness and one of despair, and the wolf of love is of light and of hope. The wolf of love is the bigger one, though. And I really love this quick story because it talks about that internal fight that we have within ourselves, the happy, the sad, the angry, the mad, every day, and how we find balance in that. And it's this internal war that everybody has. And it's really easy to fall into the negative patterns of thinking, to let those fears dictate our actions. And we can be really hard on ourselves, to be honest with you. And that feeds not the wolf we want to, right? So if we can just be real, like I have good days, I have bad days, I have good moments, I have bad moments. That's that internal struggle. And it's about finding balance. And that's why yoga is really, really a great tool to help us be able to do that. So you might be saying, well, what do I do? How do I feed these wolves? By feeding the wolf of love, you can do that by remembering how strong you are. You can forgive yourself for your shortcomings. You could express gratitude for yourself and everybody else that's important in your life. And to have empathy for others, to not judge without walking in their shoes first, and to have compassion for yourself. You might be saying, well, I love that. Why do I have to have this wolf of hate? Why do I have to even feed it? Let it starve. But the wolf of love is fed by when we feed into our negativity, right? And if we can rise above the negativity and leave the worries, leave the doubts, and move forward anyway, that's how we keep it maintained. We keep that wolf contained. And we have to be honest that it exists within us. But I think it always brings about a part of self-compassion within us, that we learn to say, okay, I know I'm not perfect, but I'm still good. And I may be angry now, but I don't have to be that way all the time. So when we are aware and we know that these 2 wolves exist in our hearts, that's when we can stop, and we don't have to have this internal struggle, this inner war all the time. We just know we've got to concentrate on feeding that good wolf, that wolf of love, and keeping the wolf of hate in check. So that's what class is about today. Have fun though. That was a lot of talking. So why don't we get into the practice now? We'll start by coming to our hands and knees. All right, I'm just going to back up to get onto my mat. And as we come into hands and knees, we want to make sure that the hands fall underneath the shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. And just to do a couple of checkpoints here, your whole hand is rooting into the mat. So even from the center of your palm out into your fingertips feels heavier towards the mat. Let's lift the toes up for a moment and then allowing the tops of the feet to feel really heavy towards the mat for a moment. Lift your navel to your spine and then drag energetically, which means probably isn't going to happen, those hands towards the knees and knees towards the hands. And you feel your core engaged. Feel how strong and engaged the entire body is. So not just thinking about feeling one part of the body, but really moving that body in a way like it's one big muscle. So take a nice deep breath in, fill the back of the ribs, exhale the breath away. And let's begin to flow through some rounds of cat and cow pose. By dropping the belly, chin and tailbone begin to draw away from the center of the body. And as you exhale, round in the back, maybe rooting into the heels of the palm, and then begin to flow. And you can move as slowly or as quickly as you'd like to. It's a good time to listen to what your body's saying. Now, I can't be there to watch you, so you really have to listen to that inner teacher within you. Take just a couple more rounds here, breathing in and breathing out. We'll come back to center. Feel that engaging of the belly. Curl your toes underneath. If you need to walk your hands forward a finger length or two, feel free. Take a nice deep breath into the back of the ribs. Exhale, downward facing dog. And keep a softness in your knees if this might be your first stretching of the day. Relax the ears towards the inner arms and the crown of the head towards the mat. Let's bend into that right knee. Allow the left leg to get as long as you can. And continue to breathe deeply. Breathe in and breathe out. And in and out. And then just switch out the legs. So bending into the left knee, allowing that right heel to feel heavier towards the mat, that right leg to feel just a little bit longer. And then extend both legs long, relaxing the head, so not using any energy to hold the head up. Maybe even turning and looking up towards that belly. And then from here, bring softness into the knees as you walk your hands back towards your toes. Keep the knees bent. Let's reach for opposite elbows in a ragdoll position. Now, some of you will feel more comfortable to rest the ribs on the tops of the thighs. Others might start to engage the tailbone, sending it closer to the ceiling and taking a deeper forward fold. So you allow your arms maybe to have some movement, swaying from side to side or front to back. Whatever you choose, turn so that you're looking back at your legs, inviting length not just into the back of the legs, but also to your spine. Just take 2 more breaths here. Inhale and exhale. And inhale. Let's soften in those knees. Sweep the arms right up towards the ceiling. And once you reach palms above the head, draw them together and bring them to your heart center. Take a nice breath in and a long breath out. Take a moment here to set an intention for your practice. To remind ourselves that there is always more good than bad. And you too choose what wolf you'd like to feed in this practice. All right, so from here, let's soften in the knees. Sweep the arms up and overhead, and as we exhale, forward fold, reach your arms out as if you were reaching to the front of your mat. Soften in your knees, hands come down to the floor, walk back out to that downward facing dog. We'll stay here for a breath, inhale, and exhale, and then allow those knees to tap back down to the mat. Roll the shoulders over the heels, let the tops of the feet come down to the mat and lower all the way down to your belly. Hands come by the shoulders. Hug the elbows back. Shoulder blades down the spine as you lift up into your baby cobra. And keep the shoulders from jarring up like earrings. Draw them down and away, and then come all the way down. Curl the toes underneath. Let's sweep through child's pose. Take an inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. Nice breath in through the nose. Long breath through the mouth. Bend your knees and walk to the front of the mat. So as you come to the front of your mat, inhale, lengthen up halfway, so extending through the spine. Exhale and fold over the body. Now as we come back up, you'll stay facing in this direction. I'm just going to turn so you can see in the front. Sweep the arms up, and as you come up, peel up onto the balls of your feet. Arms extending up above the head. And then exhale your hands down by the sides of your hips. Let's try that again. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, all the way down. One more time like that. Big inhale. Exhale, fold over the body, all the way down. Bend into your knees, step back, downward facing dog. Big breath in. Long breath out. Good, now from here, let's drop down to our forearms. So take a bend into the knees. We're going to come into a dolphin pose. Feel free here to use blocks. So if this is too deep for you, you can always rest onto your block. Let your head come down towards the mat, softening in your knees. And take a break here by breathing into the back of the ribs, into the back of your heart. So we take this dolphin pose. Nice, even breaths in and out. 4, 3, 4, 2, and 1. From here, hands come to the mat, downward facing dog. Soften in your knees, walk back towards your toes again. Soften the knees, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, halfway up. Exhale and fold, bend into your knees. Walk your hands back out, downward facing dog. Take the feet to the edges of your mat now, maybe even off the mat, as we take just a wide angle downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. 4, 3, 4, 2, and 1. Walk the feet back into your original downward facing dog shape. Space so about hip width distance. And then from here, sweep the right foot up towards the sky. So maybe it's a little bit lower. Keep your right toes pointing down. And then from here, hug that right knee in towards your right elbow. And then extend and lengthen that right foot back up. Now take that right foot in between the hands. Tap the left knee down to the floor. We're in low lunge. Feel free to use blocks here on either side to support a taller back. Take a nice breath in and a breath out. Maybe your back becomes lengthened. You're able to fingertips on blocks, or maybe even your hands stack on your knee. Drawing the knees slightly forward, coil the belly back, and sink just a little bit deeper into this pose. Now your knee and ankle are in the same line. Maybe the knee comes slightly ahead of the ankle, just not ahead of the toes. And we breathe in for 3. Let's breathe in for 2. And then from here, hands come back either to the floor or to the blocks. Curl your left toes underneath. Hover that leg for a moment. Take a nice deep breath in. We're going to make our way into a half pyramid pose. So the back heel is going to stay off the mat here, but begin to lengthen into your front leg. And there can be a soft bend in the knee here. Try not to lock out the knee. And we're just going to come forward into that runner's lunge and extend back into pyramid. Do that 2 more times. And lengthen. Come forward again with a bend in the right knee. Lengthen that leg long and stay here by extending your heart space and then exhale, fold over the body. So thinking about chest to thighs, not necessarily head to toe. As we breathe in and breathe out. Final 3. Final 2. Beautiful job. Take that nice bend back into your right knee and bring your hands to your hips to start. So now we're in a higher lunge. Take a nice breath in. See if you can lengthen through your left heel. Breathe in. And being mindful of your hips, drawing and rolling that right hip back as your left hip gently glides forward. And then from here, take the arms, sweep them up towards the ceiling, and then hinging halfway forward, let your fingertips reach out to the front of your mat. Sweep your arms back now. Let's stay here for 3 breaths. For 2. Now inhale, sweep the arms forward. Exhale, sweep them back. Inhale, sweep forward. Exhale, sweep them back. And again, one more time. Inhale, sweep forward. Exhale, sweep back. This time, bring the hands forward to the blocks or to the mat and step that right foot back, downward facing dog. Big breath in. Long breath out. Remember to listen to your body. Tap the knee down whenever you need to. Take breaks when you need to. Filling those lungs up. Big breath in. Long breath out. From here, sweep that left foot up towards the sky. Doesn't matter how high you're getting. Hug that left knee in towards the elbow and extend that leg long. And again, step that left foot now in between your hands. Tap your knee to the floor. We'll make our way up into low lunge. So we can have the hands on blocks or the mat, your choice, as you take a nice deep breath in. Remember, you can start to draw your hands, stacking them on top of the knee. Draw the knee forward, hug the belly back, and then sink just a little bit deeper. Saying hello to that right hip flexor. Good, take a nice deep breath in and a breath out. And just one more time like that, big inhale. Let's come back with our hands to the blocks or the mat. We'll curl those right toes underneath now, lengthening that right leg for a moment. And this is maybe where you stay, and that's okay. We're gonna start to make our way up to Crescent Lunge. So hands to the hips, using your balance. Remember that right knee is always welcome to tap down. If you're staying up nice and tall, extend the right heel back. So you're allowing your left hip to sink down into the mat. Left hip draws back, right hip comes forward. And breathe. Inhale the arms up. And then from here, we're gonna hinge forward, but just halfway. So you're really lifting the ribcage up and out of the belly. Big breath in. Long breath out. Inhale. And exhale. Now sweep the arms back where we'll stay here for 3 breaths. For 3. For 2. On your next inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, sweep them back. Inhale, sweep them forward. Exhale, sweep them back. One final time through. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come back. Good, sweep the arms halfway forward and then come all the way down. Hands plant on the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Take a nice deep breath in and a breath out. Let's tap the knees down to the floor. Take your hips back towards your heels and take a brief child's pose here. Give yourself a moment to reconnect to the rhythm of your breath. Maybe you need a drink of water. Listen to what your body's asking of you now. Listen to the sound of your breath. A man or a woman who has peace inside of her has everything. A man or a woman who's pulled apart by this war inside of us has nothing. We want to be the people with everything, right? Food for thought. All right, so let's take another deep breath in and a breath out. We're going to come back into downward facing dog from here. So coming back into the down dog, blocks can be available if you want them to. So from this downward facing dog, we'll float the right foot up again towards the sky. This time, take the right knee all the way across the body towards your left elbow. And then inhale, lengthen your leg. We're going to step that right foot between the hands. Pause here in your runner's lunge to set this up. And then if you would like to, if you bind using your strap or your blue hand towel, you can take that with you. So if you're using a strap, you reach up, arms come up and overhead. So you're back into this high lunge. Okay, you're from behind, it will look like this. Okay, if you're not using that strap or the blue hand towel, bind your hands together. Now let's walk that right foot out a couple of inches to the right. Widen in your stance just a bit, sink into your hips. And then from here, take your hands, draw them back down that left leg opening in your heart. Without throwing the head back, keep the chin parallel to the chest. Take a breath in, maybe some space between the legs and the arms. And on an inhale, begin to hinge into a humble warrior pose. So that right shoulder towards the right knee. Always an option to tap the left knee down. Now your hands may stay north, or you might bring your hands up and over your head towards the front of your mat. So stay here for 3. Good, breathe for 2. Hands come back down to the blocks or the mat. Step your right foot back into your downward facing dog. Breathe into the back of the ribs, the back of the heart. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, same thing. We'll float that left foot up towards the ceiling now. Take that left knee across the body to your right elbow. Inhale and lengthen. Step the left foot between the hands. Option to stay here. Draw the left hip back, gently roll your right hip, not just forward, but down and forward. So that left hip is getting the nice opportunity to feel heavier towards the mat. From here, remember to grab your strap or your hand towel or nothing, right? Because you can stay here. And we'll come up to this high lunge. So as we come up, hands come up and overhead. Breathe in. And breathe out. Start to bind the hands behind you, either clasping the fingers or holding onto the strap. Walk your left foot out a couple of inches to the left side of your mat. Hinging forward, start to feel length out from the crown of the head to the tailbone as you draw your left shoulder towards the left knee. Hands reach up, maybe even overhead. This is a little bit more wobbly than your traditional humble warrior, so if you'd like to step that back foot in for more stability, feel free. Listen to that self-talk. Are you feeding the wolf of love or the wolf of hate right now? Final 2 breaths. And on this side, let's come back up and we'll add the back bend after to see if that's creating more space. So it's never a wrong way to move your body. There's always options. Ebbing and flowing. Just a little back bend here. And we'll bring the hands back down. Stepping back to downward facing dog. Big breath in. Long breath out. Inhale again. And exhale. From here, bend your knees, look towards your hands, and walk to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, fold over the body. Sweep the arms up and overhead. And once your hands come, I'll just step back here for a minute. We're going to clasp our left hand around the right wrist. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Then all the way up as tall as you can. Exhale, side bend to the left side. Then inhale, come up, switch your grip, side bend. Let's bring the hands to the hips here. Just a little bit of hula hoop for a movement. So keeping your feet rooted into the mat, just start to sway the hips in one direction. Feels good. And then in the other direction. And then switch it again. And circle it around. Good. Get everything to shake. Shake it all out for a moment. Good. Then from here, let's come to chair pose, Utkatasana. So with your feet rooting into the mat, particularly in your heels, start to sink back into your seat. Sinking back into your seat. Sweep the arms up. Extend the elbows long and straight. So as you're sitting back, hips are higher than the heart. Breathe in. And breathe out. Good, we're gonna take our right hand to our right hip, take your left fingertips and draw them to the outside of that right thigh. Start to slide your hand down. So this could be your twist, or you can take it a little bit deeper, maybe even bending and letting that left palm come flat, take the right hand into a fist and punch it in and add a twist. But notice if you're looking like this, probably not a good idea for your body. Sink into your seat so that the crown of the head and your tailbone are in one alpine skier-like pose. Good, let's breathe here for 3. Breathe in for 2. 1 final breath. And forward fold over the body. Maybe your fingertips come to around the big toes. Inhale, lengthening your spine. Exhale, fold over the body. Breathe in for 3. Breathe in for 2. Breathe in for 1. Heel toe the feet back together, Utkatasana chair pose, sitting back into your seat. Let's take that right hand forward, left hand to your hip. From here, travel the right hand to the outside of the left thigh. You can stay here for your twist. Begin to draw the right arm down the leg, maybe bending in your elbow. Right hand becomes flat, left hand comes into a fist, and we twist. So again, thinking about the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone, like a mountain kind of crease. Good, breathe in and breathe out. Let's take 3 breaths. And 2. Big inhale now, inhale. Separate the feet about hip width distance. Take forward fold. Your choice, maybe again looping the peace sign fingers. Perhaps this time we lift the feet up and slide the hands underneath. Inhale, your gaze ahead of you, and then exhale, fold over the body. So chest and thighs continue to draw closer as you take your gaze to your standing legs or to the space between the legs. Wiggle the toes into the hands if you're stepping on them. And let's breathe in. And breathe out. One more time. And step, unhook your body, heel toe your feet back together, and slowly roll up to your tall mountain pose. Shoulders over hips, hips over knees, knees over ankles. Let's close the eyes for a moment. With your eyes closed, hug the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale the breath away. And again, inhale. Exhale. Open your eyes. Sweep those arms up and overhead. Exhale the hands out and let the arms feel like you're moving through molasses. Very, very slow to come down. Bringing your hands to your hips for a moment. We're going to come into a balancing pose, Vajrasana, which is our tree pose today. So balancing on your left foot and turn your right foot against your standing leg. So as you come up, and remember, tree pose can look like this, tree pose can look like this. When we come to this, root into the standing leg, lift up through the hip bones, and then allow your hands to come to a place that brings you a sense of peace. You're not hard on yourself. Of course you're going to be moving. You're human. Balancing poses aren't meant to make you like a statue. Maybe you're looking at your drishti point, that little focal point, and we're breathing. 4, 5. 4, 4. And 3. 2. Gently bring that right knee back to center. Step the foot down, give it a nice little shake. Ah, good. I just tripped on my mat. All right, so starting balancing on your right foot now, we'll turn that left foot against the standing leg. So wherever that lands, as long as it's above or below the knee, you know, a little push. And then with your standing leg, create a nice foundation of strength under the body. Root down into your standing foot, lift through your hips and out through the crown of your head as you find Vajrasana on this side. Maybe this time we add maybe a side bend. It's all in what feels right for you. Be sure to breathe. Soften where you can. Final 4. Final 3. And 2. Gently bring that left knee back to center. Step it down and give everything a little shake. Big breath in. A long breath out. Step to the front of your mat. Remember, if your blocks have moved, you want to make sure that you've got them available to you. We're going to come into Vajrasana, which is our plank pose, side plank pose to start. So if you want to step back to your down dog, that's fine. If you want to come to your knees and shoot back, we're all going to meet in a plank pose. So here in this plank, we always want to be a little bit pliable here. So almost like you're standing on a, or you're doing this on a diving board, you know how you got a little bit of play? You don't want to lock anything out. But in your plank, plug the shoulders in towards the sockets and make this, again, that one whole body feeling like it's one muscle. So you'll send the heels back, turn your inner thighs inward and upward. Engage the belly towards the spine. Probably want to smile here because it's starting to feel something. Take a breath in. And a breath out. We're going to slide the right hand to the center of the mat. So you're going to turn to face your left edge of your mat. And coming into side plank pose. Now if you say, no, you might tap that right knee down to the floor. But notice from finger point to finger point is one line. And we'll breathe in and breathe out. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale again. And exhale. Good. So if you're in that plank, we'll all meet back into plank pose here. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Float your right foot up towards the sky. Step that right foot in between your hands. Turn the left heel towards the mat. Come up into your warrior two. Haven't been here yet today, right? So make sure that we have that heel to arch connection. There's an imaginary line that starts in your front heel that intersects in the arch in the back foot. Sink into that right knee. Lower down with your right hip. Arms reach up. Let's take the thumbs up. And as you exhale, thumbs down. And inhale, thumbs up. Exhale, thumbs down. 2 more times. Inhale, thumbs up. Exhale, thumbs down. Let's do that 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful job. From here, flip your right palm up towards the sky to reverse in your warrior. So your left hand can rest on the leg or wrap to support the belly. Keep bending into your right knee. That's it. Breathe in for 3. For 2. We're going to come into our triangle pose now. So from here, come to stand, lengthen your front leg to straight. So if you need to step your feet in just a little bit closer, feel free. Both legs stay as long and beautiful as you can make them. And begin to reach your right fingertips over your right toes as you send your hips to the back edge of your mat. And from here, release your right hand down. And you can use a block here. I like to use a block when I'm practicing triangle pose. And arm can reach up towards the sky. If you feel you're heavy, and this is kind of what the pose is looking like, take that top hand and just rest it on the small of your back. If your neck allows, you can always turn your gaze up towards the ceiling. But remember, under this right rib cage, we're actually making a triangle with our bodies. It's an obtuse triangle, I think it's called, but it's still a triangle. So try not to collapse into this part of the body. Keep lifting with that top rib cage up and back as we breathe here for 5. For 4. For 3. 2. We're going to come into reverse Trikonasana. So keeping the both legs long and beautiful, sweep your right fingertips up towards the sky and open. Beautiful. From here, hands come to your hips. We'll turn, get the block out of the way here. Turn both sets of your toes now out to face towards the left side of your mat. Take a nice inhale, hinging from your hips, just like you were peeking out above off a cliff. You're saying, what's going down there? Keeping your back nice and long, let's take a nice wide angle forward fold. So your hands come down to the blocks or the mat. You might even walk your hands out slightly. Let the crown of the head feel heavier towards the mat. Now you're welcome to bend into your knees here. Right? We can keep a slight bend into the knees. Or you can start to extend the tailbone, turning it up towards the sky, which brings that body weight forward just a little bit more. Let the crown of the head relax. And being very mindful in our movements. Being observant of the thoughts that we're having. And it's through this wisdom and compassion that it doesn't matter which wolf is right or wrong today. It's that we recognize what's most important. And that's kindness. It's empathy. It's compassion. Take one more breath. Allow your knees to soften just a bit. Hands come to the tops of the thighs as you extend back with a flat back all the way up to stand. And then from here, turn your toes out now so we can take temple pose or a squat. So we want your knees tracking in the same direction as your toes. So if the ankles and knees start to bow in, you know you have to make that adjustment. And then from here, we'll take the hands away from the center of the body. Travel that right, let's take Vajrasana eagle arms. So the right hand is going to come underneath the left. We'll cross, so if you're tight through your shoulders, you'll stay here. Maybe you can draw the tops of the hands together, or maybe even deeper into a bind as we sink. So eagle arms in a squatting pose. Lift the elbows off the chest, fingertips away from the forehead. And we'll breathe here for 3 more breaths. Breathe in for 2. Now listen carefully. From here, keeping your eagle arms, start to turn to face back to the front of your mat. So you're going to pivot onto the ball of that left foot, back into your crescent lunge. So it might feel really wobbly, and that's okay. You could always step your feet in just a little bit closer. Let's stay here for 3 breaths. So maybe the elbows lift up towards the ceiling a little bit higher. And here we go, 3 breaths. And 2. Keeping those eagle arms now, soften into that right standing foot. We're going to come into full eagle pose. Left foot steps up. Option to cross at the ankles for a modification, or to cross, take that top left knee across and over, wrapping it around the right leg. So lift the elbows off the chest, fingertips away from the forehead. Five breaths. 4 breaths. 3, 2. Oh, we'll start to unbind your hands towards your hips. Step that left foot back to crescent lunge. Hands come right to your heart center. Inhale halfway down. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, we'll twist to the right with the option of just hovering here or taking the left tricep part of the arm across the body to the right thigh, stacking the hands. Take a nice deep breath in here. For 4. Always an option to tap down with that knee if you need to. 3. 2. Bring your hands to the mat. Runner's lunge. Okay, so getting a little fancy here, a little bit of fun and play in our next posture. So we're going to come back to this runner's lunge. So curl your left toes underneath. You can have your hands on blocks here. What we're going to do, have a little swing through with the left leg. So watch first. So as I get really, really tall, I'm going to sweep that left foot through. Want to watch it from the front? From my runner's lunge, sweep your left foot through. Vajrasana. All right, so give it a try if you haven't already. We'll take the left heel to your right inner thigh. Sitting nice and tall. And here's a great time to use your strap or your hand towel or your sock, whatever you might be using. All right, with a nice tall back, lift the rib cage up. Hinge from your hips again, lead with your heart as you come up and over. Now, if you're using your strap or any kind of mechanism around the ball of the foot, we want to bring the elbows back towards the chest and towards the elbows even, so that you've got a nice long back and that you're hinging from your hip just like you do in your forward fold. Beautiful job. And we're here for 4 more breaths. For 3, for 2. And 1. Let's release the strap if you were using one. Slowly make your way up. We're going to come onto our backs. Yes, our backs for a couple of breaths. All right, so from here, rolling onto your spine. No props needed for this one. Coming all the way down to the back. Lengthen your legs out and just stay here for a couple of breaths. Let that energy move through the body. Let the breath begin to nudge those places that are just a little bit tight. Let the breath move that. And move that lap here. Good, now hug your knees in towards your chest, giving yourself a nice squeeze. Rolling from side to side, maybe making some knees into circles in one direction, moving them into the other. Good, and then taking your hands behind your knees. And gently beginning to bring vertical energy up and down the spine by rolling like a little ball. So some of you will roll to the side and come up. Others are gonna come right up, and as you roll up, come up into your squatting pose. Right up into squat. Ooh, core, that's a core. Good, breathe in. And breathe out. And inhale. And exhale. So in your squatting pose, you stay where you are. I'm just demoing here for a moment. Nice tall back. Using maybe the elbows to draw the knees away. Nice even breath. So you're welcome to stay here. And if this is a lot for you, you can grab those blocks. You can grab your blankets, your bolsters. You can sit on those. Or if you're saying, I would like an arm balance, you know me. They like to give you lots of opportunities to grow. Not a have to, not so you can say, oh, I didn't do that. It's because it's right for you in the moment. So if you're interested in doing your arm balance of crow pose today, you can take that here while we're in this squatting pose. You're saying, can you just refresh my memory what that crow pose is? I'll demo it, all right? So in your crow pose, we have the elbows coming high onto the tricep part of the knees, high onto the balls of the feet, keeping your heart reaching over your fingers, lifting one toe and then the other. Right, always just optional, of course. Remember, the secret is if you look down, you'll go down. Coming back into that squat where we all meet. Nice deep breath in. Long breath out. And again, inhale. And exhale. Let's bring the knees now down to the mat, sitting in Vajrasana. Hands rest on the thighs. Close your eyes. And breathe in and breathe out. I love that story about the Native American Indian because it reminds us that we have the ability to cultivate and to nurture this beautiful mind that we have. We get to shape it every day. So we can choose to feed wolf of love by building yourself up, helping others, feeling good about you, or fueling the wolf of hate. We're hard on ourselves. Times like we're in right now, we've never been this, it's kind of unknown. So we get to shape the journey. We get to shape our mind each and every day. So even if yesterday sucked, it was bad, today's a new day. We get to choose that. Remember that you're still in control, right? All right, well, we have one more side to do. We've got this. We know what we're doing now. And then after that one side, be on the mat, wrap it up, and it's end of the day, right? All right, so let's come back into downward facing dog when you're ready. Come on, we'll come back into down dog. Set your blocks up if you're using them here. I lost my other block. All right, downward facing dog. Gonna paddle out the feet here. Breathe in and breathe out. You're gonna roll forward into Vajrasana. So into our side plank pose. Take your plank pose first. Remember, we're on that diving board. Really kind of pliable here. All right, inner thighs are rotating up. Heels away from the body. Heart reaching over the fingertips. And then slide your left hand to the center of the mat, turning your hips to run parallel now with the right edge of the mat as you open up. Remember, the modification this time would be to tap your left knee down. Maybe get a little bit fancy here as that arm comes up and overhead. For 5. You've got this for 4. 3. 2. And we're back into our plank pose. So here in plank, nice deep breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Sweeping the left foot up now towards the sky. Step the left foot between your hands. Turn your right heel to the earth, finding warrior 2. Feels like it's been a while since we've been here, huh? All right, so 1 thumb up, 1 thumb down in this warrior 2. Heel to arch connection. Nice square hips, softness in the shoulders. We're just gonna take 1 thumb up and switch. And switch. Match the movement to the breath. Inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. We'll do that 1 more time. Let's reverse the warrior now. Left hand flips up towards the sky. Reverse. Keep bending into that front knee. Final 2 breaths. Slowly make your way up to your warrior 2 for triangle pose, Trikonasana. Lengthen that left leg to straight. If you need to walk your right foot in a few inches, feel free. And then from here, left fingertips reach over the left toes, hips towards the back edge of the mat. We allow your hand to come down. Remember, if you're feeling top heavy here in this posture, wrap that right hand around the waist. Top shoulder, top rib cage, draw back. And don't forget about this weird shaped triangle underneath, but the most important one we're doing here. Maybe if your neck allows, the gaze comes up. My neck does not love this, so I always look down. Can always use a block too. And we're here for 5. And 4. And 3. 2. We're going to come into reverse Trikonasana. So paint the ceiling with your left fingertips as your left leg stays long and open. And then come to stand. I'm going to turn the toes to face the side of your mat. Nice deep breath in. Coming into that temple pose. So turning the toes, actually let's come into forward fold first. Let's give ourselves another break. All right, so remember, hip hinging. So in this crease, this is where we're folding in our forward fold. Keeping your hips and your heels in the same line. Lift up through your ribs, peek over the edge of that cliff as you keep a nice long back. So we can take our time coming down into this forward fold. And maybe this time we walk the hands a little bit further away to the outer edges, maybe to the heels or your toes. Remember, there's always the option to bend into your knees. Let the crown of the head feel heavy. Or again, let the tailbone turn up towards the sky, lengthening through the back of the legs, which will bring your body weight forward, almost feeling like you're going to do a somersault. That's completely natural and a normal feeling here. But just breathe. Tell your brain you're okay. The brain will panic when the heart rate starts to get up and saying, what's happening, what's happening? Remember, we are in control here. Good. 1 final breath, big breath. Hands come to the tops of your thighs. We'll come up and all the way. From here, let's come into that squat pose now. So turning your toes out. Lowering down, so just like you're sliding down a wall here. Your knees and toes tracking in the same direction. Garudasana, eagle arms. So take now your left hand underneath the right. If you're tight through your shoulders, just hug. You can bring your hands together or in a double bind. We're gonna lift the elbows off the chest, fingertips away from the forehead. Sink just a little bit deeper for 4. For 3. 2. We're going to make that big pivot to our crescent lunge. So start to come up onto, turn your right toes towards the edge of the side of the mat, and then begin to come forward. We're in our crescent lunge. Option to stay here or tap down through that right knee. Let's all lift the elbows towards the ceiling now. For 4, 3, 2. Let's step that right foot in about halfway. We're going to step into Vajrasana. So the right leg will either cross at the ankle for modification or step really high with that right foot, wrap it around, come into your eagle pose. Elbows off the chest, fingertips away from the forehead. 5 breaths. 4, 3, 2, unbind your hands, bring them to your hips, unpeel your right foot, step it way back, crescent lunge. Bringing the hands to your heart center, hinge forward halfway. On your exhale, twist to the left. So you might be hovering here, or the right tricep part of the arm might be wedging on the outside of your foot. Always an option to tap down with your right knee as you continue to twist. 4 breaths. 3, 2. Hands come to your hands now. Hands to the mat rather. Curl the right toes underneath into that runner's lunge. So remember that fun, playful move? We're going to lift up through the body, create some space, swing the right foot through, and we're down. Now, it doesn't have to be graceful, right? We're in Vajrasana on this side. So now your right heel comes to the inside of your left thigh. Feel free to use strap. I have a hand towel on this side of the mat. You can inhale and lengthen. So lift the ribs up, hinge from your hip crease, forward fold. If there is anything around the ball of your foot, bring your elbows back, lift your heart space, and again hinge. For 3, 2, and 1. Okay, unbind. We can lose the strap and towel now. We're gonna come onto our box for 2 back bending poses. On anyone you like, I recommend bridge pose today because we're gonna add our blocks. So again, if you didn't have a block, you can put anything in between your thighs, anything above your head, just if you're having something heavy above the head. You don't want it to be something that can fall and obviously hurt you. So use a pillow. If you're gonna use your yoga blocks here, we'll come into bridge pose by lowering down to the spine, bending in your knees, walking the knees in as close to the hips as you can. Take that one block the long way, place it between the inner thighs. Take your block this way in between the hands. So you're gonna squeeze the block in the hands. Fingertips will run right above the chest. Weight into your heels as we inhale and lift up into bridge. So as you arrive here, try not to let your glutes get too tight. Relax them. Feel the back of your legs, those hamstring muscles starting to engage. Squeeze the block between the hands, between the thighs. And we're here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly lower down to your spine. Let your body rest for a moment. Second back bending, final back bending pose. You can use the blocks again. If you are using the block this time, you might allow your hands to reach up and overhead as you lift up with your block. When you're ready, lift up, weight into the heels. Try not to squeeze your bum. Feel the strength and the activation in your hamstring. And keep squeezing that block, even if the hands are above the head. So the block isn't resting on the floor. We're engaging it. Final 4, 3, 2, and very slowly lower down to your back, one vertebra at a time, letting the blocks come out. We'll walk the feet now to the outer edges of the mat, letting the knees fall in towards each other. Inhale the arms and lengthen them up above the head, this time resting on the floor. And take 3 big breaths on your own. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. One final breath. Then hug your knees in towards your chest and rock your way back up to a seated position. So we're going to do just a little hip opener here in fire log pose. Can be a tricky one because we're opening both of our hips at the same time. You don't need to. You can always modify, come into a supine pigeon on your back. I definitely like to use my blocks here in this posture. I find it really helpful to allow to kind of give myself permission to let the hips open. So I start in one way and always end up in a different one. So let's have the right foot be our bottom foot. And you want to make sure that from knee to your ankle is in one line. And then we stack that, left foot is the bottom foot. Yeah, let's do left foot, the bottom foot. Right ankle on left knee, right knee over left ankle. Now this is where I have to use a block. You know, it may be hard to see my feet. I'm somehow cut off here. I like to stack here to start so I can sit with a nice tall back. And as we start to hold this posture just a little bit longer, sometimes the body just starts to soften and we can adjust the height of the block, maybe even coming to a place where we don't use it anymore. Let your eyes begin to close. Your shoulders relaxing down away from the ears. If your practice allows and it feels good to hinge forward a bit, you can do that. But keep your eyes closed. Turn back and listen to what your body's saying. Every day we get to make choices that define us, that say who we are and what's important to us. And that's how we make an impact on the world. That's how we feed our wolf of love, by acknowledging all the good that we see, that we feel, that we think, that we are. Simple things, right? Maybe hinging just a little bit deeper. Not letting the background. Maybe just listen to the sound of your breath now. As it comes in and out. And take just a few more breaths. And then slowly come up. Very gently uncross the legs. Give a little shake, maybe a little love tap here, up and down the legs. We'll come to the other side where the right leg is our bottom log. And the left leg will be on top. So lining ankles and knees, you can use the blocks. And don't be surprised if one side feels a little bit different for you. We have dominant sides and body's not always even, so don't be alarmed. Nice tall back. Let your eyes close. Soften where you can. Again, you can always breathe into those places that feel tight and visualize that breath, slowly opening them. Maybe you begin to hinge forward just a little bit. Every time I hear the story about the two wolves, I'm reminded that even when the outside world is really demanding, the state of our inner world should always be at the forefront. Because without inner balance, without mindfulness, we can't live in harmony. A few more breaths. And when you're ready, come back up to seated position. Extend the legs long out again. Point and flex the feet a couple of times. Those taps felt nice. Big inhale. Exhale and fold forward. Doesn't have to be a super deep one. We could stay up. Just enough to reward your legs. Get the blood circulating back through those muscles and tissues, and then come on up. We're gonna come onto our backs now. All right, so as you come down, let's give ourselves another hug. We deserve it. Coming down almost at the end. All right, so as you come down to your spine, we'll hug the knees in towards the chest. Let's take happy baby pose. So you might hold on to the back of your legs if that's more accessible, fingertips around the big toes, or maybe you hold into the arches of your feet. As your knees work up towards the armpits, we can move here from side to side if that feels good. You could stay and feel that strength and stillness as well. We'll breathe here for 5 and 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll hug the knees in towards the chest. Now from here, we're going to come into a twist, but in a different way today. So you want to scooch to the left side of your mat. And as you come, you're going to let your arms will take this shape. You're going to let your arms stay connected like this and roll the knees so that they're stacked. So it looks like this on your side. And then from here, we'll peel the left arm back. And if you need to use a block to hold it here, maybe your gaze follows. We soften down through your left shoulder. Final 3. 2. Gently roll back onto your spine. Or we'll now scooch the body to the right edge of your mat. Hands come, palms to touch, so the hands are coming together. And we'll roll now to the left side of your mat. So you're stacking your arms and your knees to start. Pull the right arm back this time and open out into your twist. And final 3 breaths. 2. And as you roll back onto your spine, hug the knees in towards the chest. Allow your feet to tap down to the mat as we come into supported legs up the wall. So if you're using a block and you want to use your block, you lift your hips up. The block can be on the lowest level, and allow your sacrum to rest on the block as your legs come up. If you don't have a block or a blanket, you can just send your legs up towards the ceiling. You're just allowing that energy to move back down through the body now. And let your shoulders roll out, inner shoulder to outer shoulder, heavier to the mat. And when you're ready, allow your feet to come back down towards the mat. Lift your hips up off the block. And make your way into your final resting pose. Now as you arrive here, uncurl the fingers and the toes. Allow relaxation to move into the calf muscles, into the kneecaps. If your kneecaps are holding tight, pulse them a couple of times. That same relaxation moves into the thighs, the hips, softness in the belly, working its way into the chest. Relaxation now into the shoulders. It slowly moves down to the elbows, out through the fingertips. Let's take a swallow or two here, big gulps to clear in your throat. And then create space between the upper teeth and the lower teeth, so we don't tense in our jaw. That relaxation comes out through the crown of the head. All the work is done. There's nothing left to do but to breathe. Gently begin to bring some movement into the fingers and the toes. And draw the knees in towards the chest. And roll the body over to the right side. Yoga teaches us patience, empathy, and compassion to create space in our minds and in our bodies, to take the emotional charge out of the wolf of hate and to feed the wolf of love. Let's draw the breath in, empty the breath away. Slowly make your way up to a seated position. As you arrive, your eyes remain closed, your back tall and strong, heart and mind open. And we'll bring our hands into Anjali Mudra, right at your heart center. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with ease. Live with ease. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. May we be safe. May we be healthy. May we be happy. And may we live with ease. Namaste. Thanks for coming, everybody. See you all hopefully really soon. Let me just click off here.